Welcome to Plant-Based Large Family. I would normally wait until mid-July to do another update, as I've been doing them once a month, but things are changing so quickly I don't want to miss out on things that might die, like flowers, within the next 2 weeks. So I'll start with our cut and come again lettuce bed. It's doing wonderfully. It is beginning of July and we're still getting lettuce that's not bitter. This was just an experiment. I need to, obviously you can see the holes, I needed to cover them, but I didn't. I wanted to see how they did over the summer, and if they don't bolt, then I will go ahead and plant them for my fall and winter broccoli. But I'm thinking about planting some more seeds in a different location that's shaded, so that if these do bolt, then at least I'll have other ones already sprouting. And then I also have kale, and as you can see, this is overcome by weeds. This is what happens when you cover with manure and you don't cover with mulch. So we are getting that done today. We're weeding and putting mulch on, and then it'll be good to go. So this is the whole area of the garden that we have not mulched, and you can see what a difference it makes. And you'll see as we walk through the garden the areas that we have mulched and how there are basically no weeds. Here are the sweet potatoes. I'm still planting them. You can see the ones that are a little droopy. They're the ones I just planted just a couple days ago. These are the ones that you saw me plant, and they're starting to spread, so they're doing well. This bean patch is where I am growing black turtle beans. So they'll be dry black beans that we'll use in soups. I'd like to grow all of our beans that we eat, which is a lot eventually, but I'm just learning, so this is what I have for this year. This is my daughter's corn patch. It's Country Gentleman, I think is what it's called. It's a mid-season corn, starting to tassel. Here's my brassica bed. I pulled my broccoli. I have some kale, some more broccoli that might be for the winter if it doesn't bolt. Beets are just crowded out, and cabbages are crowded out, and I assume this is probably answering my question. Do you see the mold? I think it's probably just because I planted everything so closely and because it's covered, but I have to cover it, otherwise you saw what happened. It'll just, the cabbage moths will lay their eggs and the cabbage worms will eat it alive. So if you have any suggestions for me, do you think that fixing my spacing issue will fix the mold, or do you think that, I don't know, do you have a different suggestion for covering? I'm going to have to pull these and give them to the chickens probably. Here's my perennial flower bed. I tell you what, for somebody who just is not a big fan of flowers, I am really enjoying my flower bed. Most of our gladiolas are done. We've had a lot of rain this summer, so it kind of beats them down sometimes. I pulled my other zucchini plant, so I went ahead and planted some more. Most people are overrun by zucchini plants. I have never had that issue. I'm always wanting more. What I didn't want to miss, or want you to miss, were all of our sunflowers. They're just looking so pretty. I love this, and I'm definitely going to do this probably every year, is plant them along the edge of the garden. I love that kind of almost fence of sunflowers. And planting our cucumbers along the edge of the garden so far is doing really well. As you have seen, I'm harvesting them quite a few at a time, and I've gone ahead and planted some more so that when these are done, I will have some more. The potatoes are dying back, so they'll be ready to harvest soon. These are the strawberry plants that I planted this spring. You can see they're setting out runners like crazy. And I'm just going to let them go, and I'm going to cover them like Paul says to cover them, and then whatever comes up in the spring, I think I'm going to pull, and then you guys can come and get them from me. You have free strawberry plants. I'm just going to pull them so we have rows again. But the thing is, you never know what's going to, come back, pop through the mulch, and what's going to die back. And so I don't want to do it now. I just kind of want to let them tell me, if that makes sense. Let them tell me which ones are strong and which ones aren't. Here's my tomato patch. This is the tomato patch that I planted from seed. So, to be planted from seed, I know I'm not getting any tomatoes, I'm not harvesting any, but I am always pleased with how planting from seed does. Under the tomatoes, I have my last planting of carrot seeds or not carrot seeds, but carrots and beets. And then behind there, I have watermelon trailing a hoop. I'm sure this hoop is insufficient because it's just not very big, but I'm just using what I have, and the thought is I will have pulled those potatoes, because those are early season potatoes, I will have pulled those, dug those up, by the time these climb all the way over, and then they can just go, trail along the potato patch. Then underneath the watermelon, I have purple potted beans growing. Here is my other patch of brassicas, and you can see they are more sparsely planted, and I don't see any mold. So I think that sort of answers my question about the mold issue. And we are going to harvest that one today. So I'm excited about coleslaw tonight. And then we also have one lone broccoli that we'll go ahead and harvest today. And we'll pull that plant, give that to the chickens. And I'm pretty pleased with this bed, seeing as this was an afterthought. Extra plants that were in the cut and come again lettuce bed, they were just, they overwintered. And so I planted them, and this is what came up. Okay, next to that I have the chicken tractor with a cucumber coming up. You can see through there, that's a cucumber that was planted earlier. You can see the weeds are horrible, but we have some fire ants in there, and I just haven't gotten around to putting boiling water on it or DE or anything, so the weeds are staying for right now. It's not the biggest deal in the world. Kind of stinks because they are flowering, but we'll pull them eventually. They'll come up really easily since it's in mulch. So that's that. If you can see among the weeds, we have some onions. I used old onion seed, like 3-year-old onion seed, which is why we don't have very many onions this year, but it's fine. I'm still trying to figure out onions. I had the wrong type of seed, and I don't know, maybe I'll get my onion act together next year. The celery plant's doing really well. You can see there are carrots still in there, and here are our volunteer sunflowers. I'm just letting them do whatever, and the bees are enjoying them. Just like the other strawberries, these are doing great. They actually don't set very many runners in the summer. They set a lot of their runners in the fall. And these are the everbearing kind, where they just kind of give us a trickle throughout the year. So when the June bearing are done, these are still giving us some. Not a ton, but they're still giving us some. Because of that late frost, our blueberry plants are about done. You've seen in our harvest videos that we've just been getting a trickling, and that's probably what we'll get for the next month. Okay, walking through the blueberry patch, see my other corn patch. They're starting to tassel. And I think this is an early season. Pretty sure this is an early season corn. Oh, I can't remember what it's called. I know that I ordered one that was called Texas June, and I had a late season and an early season and mid-season. I know the mid-season was Country Gentleman, and then Texas June, I don't know. I don't know if that was early or late, but so if it was early, I think this is Texas June. The other one is on my bed that just completely failed. But you can see they're starting to produce ears, so I'm pretty excited. I've actually never grown corn that has produced more than 1 ear per stalk. So I'm pretty excited. 2, 3, 4. Now I don't know that these will all fill out, but still, it shows promise. And thankfully the Lord has kept the deer and raccoon out of the garden for the last month. No telling what's going to happen when it's harvest time, but so trying not to get my hopes too high, but still. Here are the raspberries that I just planted this year. They're giving us some raspberries. My raspberries aren't giving me a ton, but they don't normally. They just, again, just like the strawberries, just a trickling throughout the summer. And then in the fall is when we come in with whole baskets full of raspberries. I'm also thinking with the raspberries as well as what I said with the strawberries, I just need to pull some in the middle so that I can see through this jungle to harvest, so that I have proper rows. This is where I had my zucchini. The squash bugs just overtook it. Next to the zucchini, I had tomato plants. These sprouted in the greenhouses, in the milk jug greenhouses, and I kind of babied them throughout the spring, and they were doing great. Obviously set a lot of fruit, and now they're dying back. And I don't know, it could be one of two things in my head. I'm sure it could be a number of other things, but my thought, it could be either squash bugs, because they've kind of been crawling to other plants and killing them, or I guess it could just be all the stinking rain we've been having. But I put some DE on there just in case. So that's the garden at the beginning of July. I will try to do a video when we harvest our potatoes, and so that you can see how that's done in the Back to Eden garden. And I may do another video mid-July, just kind of wait and see how things change.